that department, when courses are offered, opportunities for research. So all of those things fall under the major advisor. And then you have other specialists at UCSD. So there are advisors at Career Services, and they can help you get an internship, they can help you get a job, they can help you with your resume. Career Services offers so many different things, fairs, professional school advising, graduate school advising, medical school advising, or any kind of health profession. So really take use of their services, because I think a lot of students think they have to wait until they're ready to graduate to use Career Services, but it's actually, you can use them your whole time here at UCSD. There's also the academic internship program. So they have their own advisors as well. And that's where you do internships for credit. They also have the UC-DC program, where you can go to Washington, DC for a quarter and learn and do an internship there. So that's a really cool program. There's the International Center. So the International Center, they do all of the study abroad advising. If you're on a student visa, there's, advisors there as well. And then financial aid. There are advisors that can speak with you about your financial aid and that sort of thing as well. So lots of specialists to help you as part of your advising team. When you don't know where to go and you're uncertain, please speak with your college advisor, because we are very general and we know a lot of what the other offices do. And so if you're not sure where to go, we definitely can refer you to who you should speak with. So that kind of brings us into a conversation about what is a college advisor versus a major advisor. So a college advisor can help you understand and plan your GE and university requirements, learn more about university policy and deadlines, make informed decisions about your academic situation before a deadline approaches, connect you to campus resources that can help you reach your goals, clarify your long-term educational goals and interests, explore majors and find one, and get things back on track when life happens. So, it's been, I think, a challenging couple years because of COVID, and I think it's sort of made things very interesting for everybody. And I think that, that's something that your college advisor can help you with. If you're uncertain of something that's happening in your life, we're not therapists, but we can definitely help you navigate the right resources and help give you some advice about maybe a plan of action for you to undertake. So, things happen. And when you are kind of experiencing those life challenges, please don't hesitate to reach out to the college advisors. Then going over to like major advisors. So major advisors, they understand and plan your major requirements. So they really know all the ins and outs of your major requirements. Learn more about different majors within a department. So for example, you might be a biology major, but there are several majors within that department. So there is a general biology major, there's an ecology, behavior, and evolution major within the biology department. There is molecular and cell biology. So every major department has several subcategories of majors within them. So if you're kind of wondering, well, I don't know, what's the difference between this major versus that major, they can kind of let you know what the difference is and what you might be focusing on in the curriculum a little bit differently. Understand department policies and procedures. So, your college advisor, we really know the university policy and procedures, but then departments have their own policies as well that pertain to their majors. So those are kind of like, things you want to check in with them about so you're aware. Clarify questions about prerequisites. So as you're doing your long-term plan, you're going to notice that certain courses have prerequisites to be able to take them, and some don't, but some do. So your major advisor can help you with that. Connect you to research, internships, and TA opportunities. So within the department, they are going to offer research. They're going to offer possibly internships. You can always ask if they do. If they don't, then the academic internship program is a wonderful place to connect with about that. And TA opportunities. So if you want to be an instructional assistant, help out with section, help out instructor with, monitoring the class and that kind of thing, then that's being a TA. So we call them instructional assistants as well. So every department has different opportunities for that. So if that's something that you want to explore teaching a little bit more, you want to connect with students more one-to-one in a smaller group setting, then you can talk to your major department about opportunities to TA. And those are all application-based opportunities. So that's the other thing the departments are really good about, is letting you know what their application process is. Research is also something you have to apply for, so they can navigate that process with you as well. And then provide information about graduate professional school options that the department may offer. So sometimes some of the departments might offer a master's program. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they offer just PhD programs. So if you're interested in further studies within that department, you can always meet with that department with your major advisor. They might have a separate advisor in the department that just talks about grad options within the department. So they might refer you to that person. But that's definitely something that you can check in with them about as well. And then also, if you want to apply to graduate school outside of UCSD, Career Services is really great about that as well. So that's kind of a breakdown of the difference between the college and the major advisor. So let's kind of talk more about the advising requirement of the scholarship, of your CASP scholarship. So you are recommended to meet with a college advisor once per quarter in your first year. And this is implemented a little bit differently at each college. So, they'll send you a message, most likely letting you know how they're going to implement the meetings at that college. And if you don't, if you have questions about it, you can always reach out to your college advisors through the virtual advisor. Make sure to read the VAC, so that's VAC, that stands for Virtual Advising Center. And that is your kind of connection, your online connection to advising services at UCSD. So I kind of want to spend a little time to highlight that, because it is an online portal that you can log into. You can actually log into it right now. You just go to vac.ucsd.edu. And then there's different things you can do when you're in there. But you can select to ask a question, and then when you're in there, it's going to have the option to select to send the question to your college advisor, your major advisor, or another department. So it's a very useful tool. And if you select to send it to the college, then it goes to your college advisor. If you select for the major, it goes to the major. So you kind of want to tailor your question to who you're sending it to. And then, so that just kind of takes me back. There's a little detour to talk about the VAC, but I want to go back to that point we were making, which is make sure to read the VAC and your UCSD email for more info from your college. So like I said, your college advisors will be reaching out to you about the advising requirement. It may not happen right away. It might happen a little bit more after new student enrollment, maybe more towards the start of the quarter. So if you don't hear from your college advisor about the advising requirement of the scholarship specifically, don't be alarmed. It's probably that we're all just focusing on new student enrollment in the month of August, and that will reach out to you closer to school actually starting. So just bear that in mind. And then for now, you can basically contact your academic advisor starting August 7th by going to vac.ucsd.edu. So I don't know how many people have tried submitting a question through the virtual advisor, but you have actually had access to it since August 7th. So if you haven't tried using it yet and you're interested, please go ahead and do so, because that's how we're going to be advising during the new student enrollment period. And you're able to ask us questions electronically about your fall quarter schedule. And please also make sure that you have gone on to the new Triton advising and that you have done your academic background. Today is the deadline for that, I believe. So if the deadline, it says here the deadline may have already passed. If that's the case, you can still fill it out. So take some time today if you haven't already done that to do that. That'd be awesome. All right, and then let's take a few minutes just to meet the CASP liaisons at each of the colleges. So if you're at Revelle, Arnell Tan will be your academic liaison. If you're at Muir, that will be me, Karla Kastner. Michael Markulin is over at Marshall. Amado Berrios is over at Warren. Lydia Ramirez is over at ERC. Erin Nicole Vader is over at 6th, and then Stephanie Pineda is at 7th. So those are your advisor contacts. But again, you can meet with any advisor within your college. So you don't have to specifically meet with us. You can meet with any of your college advisors, and there's several at each of the colleges. So it doesn't have to be a designated person. And yeah, I just saw in the chat that Karen mentioned that Michael is a CASP alum, and that's true. So yeah, that's really exciting that he's at Marshall advising as well now. There are actually several, I think, CASP alums in advising. I know that Shay is also an advisor at Warren, and she was a CASP alum. So it's really exciting, you know, to see CASP students moving on into advising as well. Okay, and then this is actually really important. So if you want to take a screenshot of it or you want to write the dates down, please feel free to do so. You can view your enrollment time as of August 1st. So if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and view that. And that will let you know when it's time to enroll. So yeah, go ahead and do that. And then complete the Compass pre-orientation. That is by today. So today is the deadline for that. So if you haven't already done that, please go into the Compass system and go ahead and fill out your pre-orientation. And then you are required to attend orientation. So go ahead and register for that if you haven't already done so. It is due by today. So there's still time to sign up, but today's the deadline. And then advisors are working on your enrollment guidance. So that will become available to you on August 7th. And it's more of a guidance on, you know, what to think about for fall. So it is more general and open-ended. It's going to give you some useful links and things like that. And I think it also will probably, I know at Muir, we will talk about your writing requirement and your IGETC status. So, you know, it might be a little bit different at the other colleges. I'm not sure 100%, but I think the enrollment guidance is a little bit more open-ended. And that's because as a transfer student, the majority of your requirements are going to come from your major requirements. So your fall quarter schedule will most likely have 2 major classes, 1 college class, and then, you know, maybe an elective or something like that. But the enrollment guidance will go over that in more detail on August 7th. And then the VAC opens, well, we said it's August 7th, but it's already been open for transfer students. So freshmen or first year students, they won't be able to access it until August 7th, but it's already open for transfer students. So, you know, if you've already sent your major advisor a question, awesome. If you've already sent a question to your college advisors, awesome. But if you haven't, please log into that system and submit a question. I would highly recommend doing so for your major requirements. So when it comes to getting course recommendations for your major, you have to actually go into the virtual advisor and send a message to your major advisor and ask for some course recommendations. So go ahead and, you know, do that now. And since, you know, first year students don't have access to the system yet, your questions will get answered, you know, faster because there won't be as many questions coming in. Once first year students get access, then there will be, you know, just a very high volume of questions. So I would say get those questions in now. And then new student enrollment. So it's going to begin on August 17th for transfers. So we still have time to prepare, get course recommendations and things like that. But on August 17th, you want to have all that ready to go. So yeah. So that's just kind of a, you know, helpful reminder. And vac.ucsd.edu is the location for the virtual advisor. So this kind of comes to questions. And so I can answer any questions that you have if you want to drop them into the chat, or I think if, I don't know if Ria or Karen wanted to moderate the Q&A, totally whatever any people prefer. But before that, I might just make a small plug for IGETC documentation. So IGETC documentation is the agreement between the California Community Colleges and UCSD. And it's a curriculum of courses that you have to take in order to satisfy your GE requirements. And if you do all of those requirements, then your community college will issue what they call an IGETC to be sent to UCSD. And that will waive your GE requirements except for your writing class. So you'll still have to do a writing class, and it will differ at each of the colleges, but that is still required. So if you were missing 1 or 2 classes from the full IGETC, you can also request a partial IGETC. So hopefully you've already submitted your transcripts to UCSD, because admissions is actively reviewing those and posting the classes to your record. But please double check that you've also sent your IGETC to UCSD. And you can just log into My Application and make sure that your transcripts have been received and your IGETC certification or your partial IGETC certification. And if you haven't already submitted that, then please send that, because it will be very helpful when it comes to your general education requirements. So if you haven't sent that, you definitely want to contact your community college. It's usually a separate thing you have to request. So if you're not sure how to request it, just Google, San Diego City College IGETC certification, and it will tell you how to request that online. It's usually something separate from the transcripts that you have to request. And every year I meet with a lot of students who, didn't get the IGETC in time, or they didn't realize it was a separate document that they had to request. So please just double check what admissions has received from you, and make sure that the IGETC has been received, or the partial, or if not, that you contact your community college to get that sent over. And you might have to let your college advisor know that you didn't send it yet, but that it's on its way. And that will help them when they're advising you. So that's just my little plug about IGETC. Okay, I think we can go for some questions now. Okay, I'm going to take a minute to actually look at the questions. Okay, and Karen had mentioned that we should be dropping the questions into the Q&A. So please, please definitely do that. And it looks like we do have some questions coming in. So let's see. I tried contacting my college's advising department to see what university requirements I have to do. They don't do Zoom appointments. So that's true. So basically, all you would need to do is probably just wait for the enrollment guidance to be unveiled. And that will kind of let you know more about the university requirements. But we are advising actively on the virtual advisor. So if you want to just send us a question through the back, just remember to select that the question should go to the college. And then, just specifically mention what you had questions about with your university requirements, and then we can respond back to you regarding that. Where can we complete the academic background? That's great. So that's just going to be on the new student site. So you should be able to just go there and then complete the academic background there. And if you're having trouble finding it, you can always send a question through the virtual advisor. That's okay. Someone is asking, do you have any advice for successfully enrolling in courses in the fall, since most of the classes we need to take are already waitlisted? So that's a really good question. So when you're looking at the schedule of classes right now, what you're going to notice is that maybe a lot of the classes are full or waitlisted. And so don't be alarmed by that. What is going to happen is on the first day of enrollment, departments are saving seats for transfer students specifically. So they don't have enough seats for every person maybe that needs to take the class, that particular class, but they definitely have some seats saved. So those seats will be released on the first day of new student enrollment, and you will see the numbers change. So definitely, like, don't be alarmed by the fact that things might look full. That's going to change. And you definitely will have options, for your enrollment. And when you do go to enroll, if what you were planning for was full, try thinking about some backup classes. And if you need some alternative options, go into the VAC and send a question to either your major or to the college, and we can send you some backup options. So when new student enrollment is going on, we are pretty much on the virtual advisor nonstop asking questions, and we try to get back to you as soon as possible because we know that you're enrolling and you need that more immediate response. So so definitely just reach out to us there. And it isn't uncommon that you would have to wait list. So our advice is always definitely enroll in 12 units and then wait list for something. That's the ideal option. If you can only enroll in 8 units and you have to wait list for 2 classes, then that's okay too. But by the time school starts, you definitely want to be enrolled in 12 units. So if you're still waitlisted in 2 classes, my suggestion is before that first day of class, start looking at things and start seeing about maybe backup options and that kind of thing. Because you want to make sure that when school starts, you definitely have your 12 units. If you're waitlisted for something, it should be something that you're hoping to get into, but if you don't get into it, it's okay. And then if you do get into it, then you can always drop something if you want to. You do need to be enrolled in 12 units your first quarter to be full-time. So that's why I kind of keep mentioning the 12 units. And again, if you're having any problems during enrollment, please reach out to us through the VAC. Okay, let's see. I'm going to look at some more questions. I'm trying to navigate. Okay, so we do have another question. Awesome. Does the enrollment guidance include any classes that are recommended by our major/college advisors for the upcoming fall? Or is there a time prior to enrollment that we can meet with our major advisors to discuss a specific academic plan? Yeah, and we're asking because several courses in the major are only offered once per year. So yes, the enrollment guidance will include classes that are recommended by the college advisors. So it'll be more, more kind of geared towards your college requirements. And it will discuss your writing requirement at your college and probably a few of your other university requirements. And it will also give you some links for helpful tools to use. And it will also give you some guidance about contacting your major advisor. So that's kind of what the enrollment guidance will contain. It's not going to have any major related courses because you have to write to your major advisor in the virtual advisor to get that information. So what I would suggest doing is, if you haven't already done that, log into the VAC and select to ask a question and send it to your major and say, hello, I'm planning to enroll for fall or preparing to enroll for fall. And I was wondering if you had any question or any course recommendations that I should take for fall. And usually they're going to send you like 2 or 3 options that you could take in the fall. You'll also want to log into the virtual advisor because your major department might have already sent you information about their courses, plans they might have done for you, if they're doing an orientation session. So definitely check there. Also check your UCSD email because your department might also be reaching out to you through your UCSD email about their orientation sessions. Several of the departments do orientation sessions over the summer for their incoming transfer students. So if yours is one of them, definitely check your email as well, just so that you can sign up for that. If your department isn't doing an orientation, that's okay. Not all of them do. So you won't miss out, but you definitely want to use the virtual advisor to ask your major for course recommendations for the major. And so that's just going to the VAC and selecting to ask a question to the major. So make sure you select to send it to the major. Okay. I'm just reading the question really quickly. So I sent in my transcripts. And I get the certification by July 1st to UCSD. However, I noticed that on my academic history, not all of my classes were posted on there. I'm not sure why this is happening. So that's a good question. So as as you're looking at your academic history, you can go to Triton Link, and that's just students.ucsd.edu. And when you log in there with your PID and your password, you're going to see, or actually, if you just go to students.ucsd.edu, that is the Triton Link main page. So there's really helpful announcements on there. There are also, tools on the right-hand part of the page. So if you go to students.ucsd.edu, look at the right-hand part of the page, and there's going to be something that says Triton Link Tools on it. So if you click there, then you can see all the different tools that are available to you. And one of them is under the advising tools. It's called the academic history tool. And that is going to allow you to see what has posted from your community college transcripts. And also it's going to allow you to see if your IGETC has posted. So essentially, basically what is happening right now at admissions is they are working very, very diligently to process all of those transcripts and all of those IGETCs and all that information. And they're trying to get it posted to your record before new student enrollment begins. So that's going to be happening over the next several weeks. So if you don't see everything on there right now, that's okay. But I would say if it's August 10th and you still see that there are some classes missing, you can contact admissions and just kind of follow up with them about that. So if you just go to admissions.ucsd.edu, their contact information is there. You could call them, you could email them. Their email is admissionsreply@ucsd.edu. So I can type that into the chat. But yeah, don't be alarmed if you don't see everything there. So I'm just typing the email right now. So it's admissionsreply@ucsd.edu. So yeah, if you email them with your PID and your name and the fact that you're a fall 22 incoming transfer student, then you can actually state what classes were on the transcripts that are actually missing. So, and then they can like annotate that for you or follow up with you about that. But I have a feeling it's going to pop up before new student enrollment. They are usually working really hard on getting all that information set up. So hopefully it shows up by August 10th or 12th. And if you don't see it by that time, contact admissions. And you can also reach out to your college advisor as well. And then Belinda makes a great point. Definitely include your PID in any emailed questions to any department because it expedites the response. Yes. So that's how your PID is kind of that link to all that information about you. And so once we have that, then we can actually look that up and see and kind of reference what you're talking about. So it is very, very helpful to have that information. Okay. And let's see. So I have another question, and someone is saying that they received an email that they were pre-authorized to take a summer session course, and it sounds related to their major. Did their major assign this to me? I am not sure. I would see who sent the email to you. If it was like a specific department, like, it might be from the sociology department, for example. Maybe they pre-authorized you for a summer class, a sociology class or something. You can always reply back to the email and just kind of inquire why you received the pre-authorization, or that you're an incoming student and you're not intending to take any summer classes, but you were interested in knowing more about the opportunity or something like that. As an incoming student, you're not required to take any classes in the summer. So I think sometimes departments might send out like a blast email to students, and maybe when they were downloading a list, it also included some incoming students in there. So maybe that's why that information got sent out to you, but you're not required to take any summer classes. So if you weren't thinking about doing that, that's totally fine. Yeah, and then there's another comment in the Zoom chat, which is a really great reminder that waitlisted classes don't count for financial aid. And so, and yes, so you do need to be enrolled in 12 units to be considered a full-time student for financial aid purposes. Waitlisted classes do not count. So I just want to emphasize that. That's why I'm saying a few days before classes start, maybe even a week before classes start, look at your enrollments, make sure you're enrolled in 12 units. You know, if you are waitlisting a lot of classes, that's not a good situation, especially because you do need the 12 units for the financial aid disbursement. So yeah, if you have concerns about your enrollment, like I think, you know, don't be alarmed now. There should be enough classes to get your 12 units. But if you're in the enrollment period, which is going to start August 17th, and you're not finding enough classes, for example, just write into your college advisor, write into your major advisor. You know, there are definitely going to be alternatives out there. And sometimes I know students can really have a preference for, oh, I want this professor, I want this time, but you might have to be more flexible with that. You know, there might be a class that's open, but maybe, you know, it's a different elective than what you plan to take, or maybe it's a different professor than the one you plan to take. That's okay as long as you're getting your units. And you know, that's pretty common at UCSD. So having that flexibility and having some backup options in mind before you even start to enroll is a really great idea. Okay. And somebody's asking how they could petition to take a higher level class. So it really depends on the kind of class that you're taking. And I would just recommend following up with your major advisor and the virtual advisor, because it really depends. Like, you have to have the prerequisite. It's kind of, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. You can't like pass out of classes through an exam. There are only a few departments that actually allow that. I think the math department is one of them. So, you know, if that's something you're interested in doing, then I would say contact your major advisor and reference the specific class that you're referring to or something like that. A lot of what is going to determine what classes you're able to take is what prerequisites you have completed. So a lot of courses do have prerequisites associated with them. And so you'd have to have credit for that prerequisite before you can take the class. And some courses don't have prerequisites, so you don't have to wait to take them. It just depends. So I hope that answers your question, but I think it's more specific to maybe a particular class or a particular major, and that's where I would refer you to the virtual advisor to contact that department or that major specifically. And if it relates to your college requirements, then you can contact us as well. But a lot of us, you have to take courses to fulfill those requirements. So for your college requirements. So yeah. Let's see what other questions we have coming in. Okay, so somebody's asking a great question. Do you often get in the class if you're waitlisted, and how do you know if you got in, and do you get an ad code? So we will definitely cover this in orientation, but waitlists run every night, and the new numbers are reflected the following morning on TrainLink. So you can check every morning and see, have you made progress, have you not? The thing to kind of keep in mind is if it's a 200-person class and it has a 100-person wait list, chances are if you're 101 on that wait list, it may not happen for you, because that would mean that 50% of the class has to drop for you to get into the class. So I don't encourage students to wait list for things where the wait list is so long, it doesn't make sense to try for it. That's where having backup courses in mind is really helpful. And looking at, sometimes there are different sections of the same class offered. So, you know, thinking about maybe times that work for you, having a few different options, a few different time slots, and being sort of flexible with the timing of things as well, because maybe, you know, one section of a class is full, but maybe they're offering that same class at a different time and that one's open. So that can also increase your chances of getting classes. Okay. So I have another question, and I think we might have maybe one more minute, so I'm going to go ahead and answer it. If you're an incoming transfer student in an impacted major, are you able to declare a double major within another impacted major so long as it's outside of your original major departments? So if you're in a impacted major already, and then you're interested in double majoring with another impacted major, you'd have to go through that major's application process for the impacted major. And I would say check in with your first major's major advisor to find out how to navigate that situation. Because some departments, if you're already in an impacted major, some departments have rules about whether or not you can leave or not, and the double major petition process might affect that. So in essence to that question, check in with your current major advisor and they will let you know more specifically about that. And I think that concludes our session. So I'm going to turn it over to Ria. And thank you, everyone. It was really lovely to talk to you today. Look forward to seeing you all.
Thanks so much, Karla. All right, everybody. So we are done for today's session. As a reminder, it is recorded and will be available on our CASP YouTube channel. But for right now, please go ahead and make your way over to your summer interns group activity